when things stop working in business, even though they should be working, and it doesn't make sense why they're not working, whether this is a cash flow issue, whether it's a profit issue, whether you're just starting out in business or whether you're running an 8-figure company, this has nothing to do with your level of intelligence. In fact, you've probably become too smart for yourself in a lot of ways. This is to do with your lack of wisdom. Now, I say this respectfully because we're also going to deep dive in how you can cultivate your wisdom back on this video, because the truth is that your wisdom already exists within yourself, and you have outsourced your wisdom and disconnected from it. It is not something you need to necessarily go out and gain so that you can figure your business problems out. Now let's break this down a little bit further. When we look at intelligence and we look at wisdom, intelligence is what we intellectually understand within our brain. And if you haven't figured it out lately, there is more than enough intelligence out there these days. Wisdom, on the other hand, is not just understanding something at a granular level. It's not just understanding the intricate formula of something. It's your ability to be able to have a bird's eye view and see the integral perspective of everything. It's your ability to be able to see the wholeness of what it is that you're actually looking at. Let me give you an example. I had a client just the other day, and they've come to me and they've got marketing challenges, and they're talking about their marketing, and they're talking about how they don't know how to do this, so they used AI to do this thing, and now they came up with a really smart formula. It's really smart, it's really intelligent, but it's incredibly unwise, because the thing that she was missing was the fact that she didn't want to create any of the fucking content in the first place. She was deeply energetically misaligned from the content she was creating. Right? So what's the point of doing it in the first place? If we do something from a dysregulated origin, we're only going to get a dysregulated result. So the wisdom that she was missing was to be able to take a bird's eye view and actually see the core problem that is disrupting the synergy of the whole. So let's take a look now at what happened to your wisdom and why you can't seem to figure out the problem that should be working. Whenever you've got a problem that should be working, you're not lacking intelligence. It should work. Logically, it makes sense. But really, it's not about logic for you. Let's get into that. When we look at wisdom, wisdom is cultivated when we're able to not just intellectually understand something in our head, but when we're able to have it land through our entire being, so that we've got harmony between soul, mind, emotion, and body. When we have an understanding, a deep understanding of something that runs through us and is in deep coherence, we're getting closer and closer to wisdom. But the number one thing that is taking individuals away from wisdom at the moment is that they are brainwashed and hypnotized into the illusion of time, which may surprise some of you. When we look in the entire way the world operates at the moment, everything runs at a ticking time. You right now have some level of awareness around how much time this video is going to take from you. You have some level of awareness around how much time you're spending on this video, right? We have an entire society that is built upon the illusion of time. And we have been hypnotized to praise time above all else. Now, what that then does is it creates a frantic rush. We begin rushing through everything that we are doing, and we become incredibly dysregulated. So therefore, since we're trying to utilize our time as effectively as possible, we use ChatGPT and we use all these AI devices and we scale and we use speed. And then we look at like, oh, how much clients can I get in based off the time that I have available? And how can I learn this new thing as quickly as possible? How can I shortcut? How can I time collapse? We are doing fucking everything we can to bow down to the illusion of time. As a real-time embodiment practice, take a fucking breath right now. Take a moment. Look around. Take a moment. And realize that this impatience is the very thing that is distracting you from cultivating your wisdom. Wisdom comes through us when we allow ourselves to fully exhale and to slow down and fully relax. But the entire matrix, entrepreneurial and societal matrix, is telling us to rush. And since we're so rushed and we're so stimulated and our brains are in beta frequencies all the time, there's no space for wisdom. Or maybe we get that little slither of it when we do a meditation or when we go out on an adventure into nature. We get little slithers of it. Slithers. Well, what if you didn't just have to have these peak moments where sometimes you could finally think with an iota of fucking wisdom? What if instead we could have a reality where we're sitting in that wisdom and in fact we are working with wisdom every single day? Well, if that's to occur, you've really got to open yourself to the fact that time may be some form of an illusion. Now, let's break that down further, because I understand that's a hell of a statement, but have you ever found that you've been rushing and time is just slipping away from you? And no matter what it is that you're doing, you're like getting changed really quick, you're brushing your teeth fast, you're cooking at speed, right? You're making your coffee, you're getting in the car and you're trying to get to the thing, and no matter what, you're just desperately fighting against time. And then have you found on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, you've had times in your life where you swear that those minute hands are just ticking in slow motion. Times you look at, really? It's only been 10 minutes? That's because time is a subjective experience. And what ends up happening is when you slow down, time slows down. Everything slows down. The trees, their leaves appear to be slower. Everything appears to be slower when you slow down, because you fall into harmony with that which you are. And you get more of that which you are. The slower you go, the slower the world ends up going, because the world is your mirror. So what happens is when you allow yourself to stop rushing and stop having all of your time constraints. I have to build the business by this date or else I won't have enough money for X. Time. I have to get this thing done by this time so that X. Time. I've got children now, so I only have this window to do this. Time again. I had this today for this exact video. I realized, ooh, I've got this time gap to film this video, right? And every part of me wanted to rush. This is the conditioning that I have been exposed to for almost 30 years, right? Exposed to that conditioning, rush, rush, rush. I only have this much time to get this video done, and I haven't even created the fucking whiteboard for it yet, and I haven't done this thing, and I need to have it released in time, etc., etc. Rush, rush, rush. Then I go, oh, hang on. Do I want to align myself to that rush? Nope. Do I want to align myself with the buzz of the world and the intelligence? No. Do I want to align myself with spaciousness, with clarity, with wisdom? Yes. With calmness? Yes. With coherence? Yes. And I'm going to get into specific exercises that I invite you to do if you want to cultivate more wisdom in just a moment. So I slowed everything down. Even though I had less time, I just slowed everything down completely. I slowed all of my movements down. I stopped like, I'll go get the fucking whiteboard, right? Oh, I'll write these things out. I better get on my phone. Just like micro movements, just like pick this thing up. I slowed it all down, and I swear time fucking froze. That window of opportunity that I had just expanded massively. I had music on and I was getting into the groove of drawing this out. And surely I took fucking hours doing this. Nope. But it felt like it because I slowed my time down. And then if we take this further, and this is going to be so against everything that the current narrative in entrepreneurship is promoting at the moment, but if we take this further and we go, okay, I'm not going to be a slave to the illusion of time anymore. Instead, I'm going to allow myself to come back to coherence, to come back to wisdom, to come back to source, to come back to spirit, to come back to the real intelligence that's already pulsing through me. Well, then I start to do this more. And this is now getting into steps. I actually realign myself to nature. I can't believe how many individuals I'll speak to that don't have time to go watch the sunrise and the sunset. They don't have time to do that because they prioritize other things. And really all this tells me is that they're so deeply bought into the illusion that they don't even have time. They believe they don't have time to connect with the true nature of this beautiful earthly experience that we get to have. We begged to get a physical body. Our souls begged to get a physical body and have an earthly experience, and we can't even watch a fucking sunrise, right? But what happens is when we align ourselves back to this, we take time to watch the sunrise, the sunset. We take time to stare at the moon and actually look at the stars. How many of you could tell me exactly where the stars are going to be tonight? How many of you could tell me exactly which direction it all spins? How many of you could find your way home using the stars? So many can't. Oh, but I don't feel a draw towards nature. Because you're so disconnected from it. And if you haven't already had this understanding yet, you are nature. So your disconnection from Mother Nature is your disconnection simultaneously from the truth of yourself. Do you understand that our body is made of clocks? Our body is made of a circadian rhythm. The cell regeneration of our skin, of our organs, all of it, all runs on clocks and is completely dysregulated if we're not in rhythm with the clocks of nature. So what so many people do is they spend their entire day, time. Oh, I'll go spend 10 minutes in nature. Oh, I'm spending my time in nature for 10 minutes. And they fucking go straight back to it. Instead of living a natural life with nature and building a business around that, they have a business that's their life and they let a little bit of this in, a little bit of that in to get the result. And then since you're using and abusing nature to get a result, obviously it doesn't want to work for you. But when you start your mornings with meditation and you start your mornings with a stroll through nature with no concept of time, wisdom starts to pour through you again. When you presently Sip your cup of tea with zero rush. When you allow yourself to taste it versus gulp it down. When you allow yourself to do nothing other than stare at the leaves of the trees while you sip your tea, your entire nervous system re-regulates itself. And now that everything is operating as a fine machine, and everything has its own breath, and everything is in expansion and contraction, which is the law of the universe, the wisdom comes through again. When you slow all of your movements down, and this is a practice I do, is I literally have this metaphor, this saying in my head that's like moonwalking. Moonwalking, baby. I'll go to make my coffee, and rather than like getting over to the coffee machine, I'll be like, nah, make it like I'm on the moon. Moonwalking. What's the rush? Weigh out my coffee perfectly, like a psychopath. Measure it perfectly into the grinder. Prepare it perfectly. Watch it. Give it time to watch it come out. Yeah, and then sip it presently. Slowing everything down. Now, some of you are already doing this, or have already done this in the past, yet you fell into this masculine feminine trap, this yin and yang trap, where you sit in your yin, you sit in your feminine, your slowness, everything I'm talking about, and then you just end up in float land, where you just don't work now. You basically just like sit and just float around in float land, and you do no work whatsoever, and nothing gets done. Is that what you're saying, Tom? Absolutely not. If that's what you're experiencing, where you either have to be one or the other, you either have to be like fucking charged or getting it, or you're chill, but you're completely floating about, and then you look back at yourself and you're like, what the fuck have I been doing for the last 3 months? This is due to your lack of harmony with polarity. This is due to your inability to be able to work slowness into your work. Right? I remember it took a lot of rewiring, a lot of deep subconscious work that I now teach to rewire myself to be able to work with slowness, because I just couldn't do it. It was like the second I sat down at the computer screen, it was like I sat down and a speed tablet was just injected into me, and I was on speed, right? And straight away I sit down, and I just go straight into this franticness. Apologies. I go straight into this franticness, and my mind is just anchored into stress and work and hustle when I'm working. But what if we could actually allow ourselves to work with peace and slowness? I had to do a lot of work for these videos because, again, the conditioning says you got to be direct to the point. You got to be fucking on. You got to have your hook dialed in. You've got to be direct. You've got to be impressive. You've got to perform. You've got to be on point. And I'm just, no, I refuse to do it. I refuse to not let myself have a cup of tea while I do my videos. Where do you need to have a metaphorical cup of tea? Through your work, so that you're re-regulating and in more stillness again. Allowing you to have the wisdom that'll actually contribute to the major results that you want within your business. Because, look, I can tell you now, if you've been in a period where your marketing worked and now it doesn't work, if you've been in a period where your sales worked and now they don't work, if you've been in a period where you were able to deliver incredible results, but now you cannot, this is not the external's fault. Yes, the economy has changed. Yes, the marketplace has changed. Yes, the landscape of business has changed as a whole. But your inability to be able to adapt effectively to this, I can promise you, will not be found, the solution will not be found in more intelligence. It'll be found in everything I'm teaching you now, which cultivates more wisdom. Coming back down here, we're in harmony with nature again. We're allowing ourselves to sip our tea more presently. I am literally having like 5 cups of tea a day because of the anchoring that I have around slowing down when I have it. Because I'm like, yeah, I want to stay slow. I want to stay in flow. I want to allow it to pulse through me. So I'm like, oh, I'll just make another cup of tea and that'll slow me down a little as I find my rhythm and become less dependent on having to have the cup of tea to slow down. Lastly, read. Read again. How many of you are actually reading a book every second week? How many of you are going to look back on the next 365 days and be like, fuck, I read 50 books this year. I read 100 books this year. I read 150 books this year. That would be great, a great feeling. Now let's put all of that bullshit aside. The act of unintentionally, without a core intention and an outcome, but the act of simply allowing yourself to sit and read will cultivate wisdom like nothing else. So many individuals, they'll ask me, they'll go, what did you get out of that book? What's the book you got the most out of? What is it that really changed the game for you in this book? It's so fucking secular. That thinking is so one-dimensional. What if the thing that I got out of the book was that certain tiny little things were said in ways that formed the bigger picture, the way in which I think? I also like to read ancient books as well, with the real wisdom in them. I have no interest in what the current bestsellers are, because if we're being real here, there are so many books throughout history that when read with an open mind will channel the ancient wisdom straight into your being. And it's not, again, about trying to look and comb through for this answer. Slow down and enjoy soaking up the wisdom. Enjoy allowing the wisdom to just come into you. Don't look for it. Don't scour for a particular thing. Allow your wisdom. And this is the final point. You're likely looking everywhere for your wisdom other than within yourself. And that's because you have been trained, like Pavlov's dogs, to look for it elsewhere. But this is the trap. This is by design. If you don't think that the entire society that we live in is intentionally using time as a manipulation strategy to yield profit and control, wow, we've got a massive conversation to have next then, don't we? Whereas when we return back to this and we stop allowing time and we stop allowing lack to control us, then we become untouchable, unfuckwithable. And our wisdom, our ability to open our eye and see the bigger picture of things and see beyond the illusions and find our words of expression versus GPTing our words of expression, our ability to do all of this becomes unlimited. I hope this has been useful for you. If you would like to deep dive together and unlock your new level of cultivating your own wisdom, book a deep dive call below and check out these videos, probably helpful for you. I'll see you on the next one.